Right. Hello, everyone. So welcome to How to Drive Global Audiences to Your National Audiovisual Content. My name is Alex Stolz. I'm head of film here at Usher U. In my previous life, I was at the BFI and the UK Film Council for a number of years, looking after their distribution and audience strategy there. I also, in my other hat, I run a company called Future of Film, which looks at the future of the film industry and storytelling. And this is Agustina.
Hello from Madrid now. I am from Argentina. It's really nice to have you guys. As you can see, I'm also a producer, as the slide states. I'm originally a producer. I have a degree in social communications, and I've been part of a national film body in Latin America, in Argentina, and have developed lots of projects regarding audience development. I would suggest if you Google Cinear, which is kind of one of the best projects, I would say, oh my God, to promote national film in the world. So we're here just to share some thoughts and to try to make the most of some suggestions and insights that we got through the whole work that we create in Usher U and other hats, like Alex said.
Yeah. Well, so a little bit about Usher U. So we're we're very much a hybrid of tech and film. As it says here, technologists, creatives, film industry veterans. That'd be me. And really the idea is to bring technology and tech thinking into the film space and to help filmmakers, film industry to achieve more in this super competitive landscape. And we'll talk about that.
Sorry to jump in just before, because we have a question. We are recording this session, and yes, we will be distributing the session after this, so we could make a follow-up and you can access to this content or even to the deck that we will be showing. So
thanks, Agustina. Yeah, sorry, and that's my bad housekeeping. This session will last an hour. It is being recorded, like Agustina says, and do feel free to enter into the chat, say hi, ask questions. If we don't answer them during the presentation, we will definitely try to get around to them at the end. I'm sure we will. We want this to be interactive and we want it to be helpful. This is the idea here. So there's a few more of the people we work with at Usher U, from distribution to production and national film agencies. So we work with a range of partners across the world. And so, yes, that's enough about us. And what we're here to talk about is about you, and to help, if we can, give you some pointers, some tips and strategies that we think, which we've learned through working with our clients, are very effective in terms of promoting national film, promoting all film actually, really, but specifically in promoting national film in this in the new ecosystem. So I mean, as I said, I used to work at the BFI, so I and Agustina has also had a similar experience. So we kind of, we have a good idea of what traditional national film promotion looks like, and it's such a big reliance, right, on markets and festivals, which are great, which are important, but as we know, this past year has really thrown so many challenges for us in the industry in adapting to that. There's been traditionally a big focus on business to business, like industry partners, which are great as well, absolutely key. But we'll come on to why we think having a more business to consumer strategy alongside that is beneficial. There's a focus on social media, which is great. All of these things, none of these things are bad, but we believe you can do. We believe there are other ways to enhance them, and that's what this session is about. Yeah, I've said that. It's basically, you know, the last year. I mean, the last year has been so difficult in so many ways, but I think one of the things it's thrown up is just how fragile this, you know, parts of the industry are, and really it's still an opportunity now. It's still an opportunity for us to move on, to do things better. It's a necessity, in fact, but yeah, we need to collectively really be looking at ways to do things more efficiently and more effectively.
Actually, Alex,
Yeah.
before you go to this slide, I would say that promotional, traditional promotion looks like that picture that you shared, but it's not the way to say this is not a good thing. It's a way to just to take a picture of what we do actually and rethink that and try to complement this with some practical stuff. So this is not just being criticized for what we do traditionally, because we are going to keep on doing that, but we need to try to create new efficiencies. That's kind of our mindset. We are always thinking about that, and that's the challenge, I would say.
Yeah, well said. So these are some of the key challenges. Although being an optimist, I also like to think of these are the main opportunities, and we'll come on to how we can address these. But the first thing is how do you gain visibility in the new global digital ecosystem? There's so much noise, right? And you know, first on a microcosm, it's like how do you gain visibility in a virtual market? How do you gain visibility in a virtual festival? But there's a wider space, you know, with the reliance of streaming now, home entertainment. How can we as an industry continue to connect and cut through? The other sort of part of that is, you know, learning from audience behavior. You know, it's no longer enough, and it hasn't been enough and for a long time now to sort of guess what audiences want or speculate. It's the opportunity. It's essential now to learn from audience behavior. And look, you know, when we're talking about audience here, we might be talking about the people in the cinema, but we're also talking about your audience as in your stakeholders. We're talking about your audience as in your partners. But it's understanding that audience is crucial. Yeah, and now it's what we feel is that you can complement these relationships with your stakeholders, the industry, the sales, the distribution, with direct to consumer relationships. And it's that is a key opportunity right now, and it's possible, and there's ways to do it, to manage it, which brings a lot of benefits. But how can you do this with the same resources or even less? I mean, that is the key. And so what we want to show you today is some practical ways where you can take steps towards this. And some of you are already doing these things, and hopefully we can also give you some ideas about how you can take it further. But that's the question. In an ocean of content, how can your films stand out? And we know that piracy is on the rise. There's an increase in piracy across the board, in every territory. It struck me looking at research recently that 30% or a third of all piracy users find their streaming site, their illegal streaming site, on a search engine, right? On a search engine. How can we combat that? How can we address it? Agustina, there was something else I was going to mention about the ocean of content, piracy.
Yes.
And
Yes, and we were going to, of course, mention that audiences are being targeted with lots of promotion regarding lots of content which are going online. I would say in this case legally, because there are lots of content being promoted not only from streaming sites, but we got now smart TVs having AVOD channels, having on-demand offers, and of course the COVID was the time and is the time that we are also audiences. We are part of the industry, but we also receive like lots of recommendations, things to watch. So in a way, what Alex and I are always thinking is how to position national films, which are perhaps most of them art house or have a special segmentation. They're thinking about a niche or a community of interest, which is out there, but they don't even know there's a legal offer that perhaps you are aware of and you could promote. So that's kind of not only thinking of our stakeholders, but thinking about common audiences that want to support our movies. I'm seeing here people from Spain, Chile, that they are really promoting their catalogs, and they could think about having living catalogs around the digital world, you know?
well, we'll come on to that. I mean, yeah, we're just bombarded with messages, right? You know, not just film. 5,000. Each of us get an average 5,000 adverts directed at us a day. 5,000. So how do you stand out? And it's like Agustina says, it's being able to find those communities, find those interests, and find ways to connect. So yeah, we're not going to leave you on a cliffhanger. We're not going to, if you get sleepy and you don't want to, you miss some of the rest of the webinar, we're going to tell you the answer. How do you stand out? Well, you need to be using digital, online, and data-driven tools. These are the ways which you are going to be able to succeed. You, us, anyone operating in the film space. It is absolutely essential. And these tools, which we'll come on to some of these in more detail, will allow you to generate and generate audiences, but also know those audiences, own them, have a relationship with them and understand them. Allow you to drive your promotional campaigns. It will allow you to be more effective in terms of your stakeholder management, right?
And
Yeah.
I would say, Alex, that I would press the don't panic button here, because perhaps it can show like, hey, I don't know what this is all about, or perhaps I have a slight knowledge about this. This is don't panic, because we will share some thoughts about this getting not so complicated, and you don't have to like be afraid of this like big words data, which is kind of sometimes so sensitive in a way. So we're going to show you some of that, because Alex did a fabulous map of the journey of the data and how can you benefit of this, because this is kind of, you should see it graphically, because information is out there, but the value of the information is when you use it, when you feed your actions with the information. You can improve your promotion, and even you can improve your positioning as national film bodies globally. So I don't know, Alex, if you want to share about this, because I think this is the key to understand how we can feed our actions, both B2B and D2C, if we want to get into that world, which we recommend 100%, that you can benefit of these new opportunities.
Yeah. Well, I think that I mean, you've said it very well. I mean, I think the opportunity is to have a direct understanding of the audience, and that allows you to better serve the audience, but also create better reporting, better strategy, more informed strategy for the industry, and allows you to share, just very practical stuff. For example, like, to tell your sales agents that you're seeing a lot of demand for a particular movie in a particular country. Very practical stuff, which you can help your content get more opportunities, more distribution opportunities. So yeah, that's sort of what we're proposing. But Agustina now is going to talk a little bit more about the direct-to-consumer side, what that means, and also how we can put some of these things into practice.
Yes, Alex, because I believe that most of you are already creating different flows regarding how you communicate to your audiences, to your communities. Again, either they are B2B or you are directing to consumers. So I would say, again, our key main word, like if we were kind of a religious message that we would like to share, is like, you have to use the information you have. First, you have to get it, to gather it, to produce it, and then you have to use it. Why? Because perhaps I would say, again, don't panic if you're not doing all the things that you are saying in this slide, because we also always recommend to have a holistic approach of the promotion of anything. It's not only about national films. If there's any producer or distributor in this listening to this webinar, they can also get some insights on this. So best practices, of course, is getting all your traffic into your website. If you're using a website, we will go over that one in a few seconds, but it's important to focus in your website because you're always producing material and content using social media mostly, because we have been researching this kind of trends. So we will speak about that. But the best thing to do is try to get it the most holistic that you can, like trying to address all these channels to communicate with your targeted audience, and not to stay out of using tools that you may think that are out of date, like marketing emails, which we will go through in 30 seconds or less. And of course, creating high value content. For instance, if you are already creating newsletters or ways to communicate or sequences of emails or even posts, to try to stick to your goals, I would say, like to try to question the content you produce and see if that is relevant for the targeted audience you are trying to address. So all this multi-channel strategy looks like, oh, this is a lot to do. How am I going to do? I don't have a team. I don't have this expertise or whatever. You just concentrate in the strategy, in the messaging that you want to get out and you want to shout out. I would say, even, we didn't add this, but think or rethink the kind of press releases or the kind of press shout outs you do. I know this is kind of sensitive, as we are like, I would say we, because I've been for a lot of years, but you are in public institutions or associations in a way, so this is sensitive, but just try to think them as you are addressing audiences. It's not just giving out this message. The good thing about what Alex said and his map is that the tools gives us the possibility to get flows automatized, so you don't have to like be afraid of doing and getting into complex workflows, because it's not. And actually, of course, you can be able, if you direct all the traffic to your website, as I said, and if you like build this point of reference and this hub as your main place to communicate with audiences, you can know them, you can track them, you can see what they do around your website, where do they come from, what's the amount of time they stay, what do they choose to click. You can go over those stats really simply with any online tool. Even we would share some success stories that we did build really closely. And you can retarget them. You can always get in touch with these audiences and really own them. Why is this? Because if not, you lose track. You split audiences all around the net and you are not able to position yourselves. So I would say that we need this hub, but we need this hub well positioned, because if we are not well positioned in search engines, and I would go through that now, we will lose all our efforts because we will not get found. You know that
you're saying basically don't dilute it. You know, don't spread it to Facebook or to social. Those are great tools, but always try to get people back to the site where you can form a relationship with them. Is that right? So you can, you know, hopefully get an email, you know, get them to sign up for a newsletter, or at least know where they came from, right? So you know which one of your campaigns is working.
Yes, because you should see yourself as a hub that offers content, not only that is using a website as a place, like a standalone website that you just use it as a one page, this is us and what. No, you have to create kind of a user experience, which is really not a big deal to do, because there are lots of tech people, like for instance us, that we're always thinking about these tools and how to develop them and how to bring this to the film industry. That's what we do. So in a way, I was always talking, and I know Catherine is in this webinar listening. We were always talking, and I heard this good example from her, like when Twitter like closed Trump's account, and all the followers and all this audience got caught into this compliance thing, like, hey, that was lost. I mean, all those efforts, all those information, all those people that he could address, they were there. They were not, Trump was not the owner. Well, this is, but he was not. So in a way, your website should be your point of reference, your hub. And doing this, it implies like getting your website positioned. You should get found, because if you're not found, the internet is again another ocean. You are not found. There's an ocean of content and an ocean of the digital world. So again, this is not a panic slide. Don't panic, because you have to concentrate on what you can do from the content side. In SEO, perhaps you heard of this word. I know you do. For people who don't know, is to get a website optimized and to get it found and to really drive traffic from search engines to your website, because if not, it's like not being there. So there are kind of small things that you can do organically. And there are other things that, of course, tech people or tech partners are always going through, like get your images optimized, the speed of the load, the loading speed of the page, and whatever.
We can do all of that, or you know, another.
We are always thinking about that, and we are like always telling our IT team to do more, and hey, we need this, we need that, because we are thinking about our partners. We are always trying to position the website and to drive audiences there. So you know the industry, you know the network you work for, so you have to control the words you want to position, like perhaps translate your goals into keywords your industry is always searching in the search engines. You know, taking Google as an example, which is like the example, the algorithm is made of more than perhaps 200 signals that they check to position your website, which is a bot, of course, and the algorithms are always changing. But from the content side, you have to stay relevant for your network, for your stakeholders, to control the words you want to use, and of course, try to work on linking other content to your website and from your website to other partners' content, or even streaming dates or show times, streaming links, dates of releases coming soon or whatever on your films. So again, and I would say this and you will be tired of me, remember that the thing to do is have a one destination for all your promotion. These are kind of tips and tricks, like, hey, don't forget about this. You will remember me. I will annoy you with this. So coming to what people think that is, and this is a really important like reminder, like people tend to think that social media, it's better in engagement and conversion for promotional stuff than email. That's completely the opposite. That's completely wrong. I mean, both social media content that we produce and email marketing tools that we use, they work together, but really email marketing is a really, really powerful tool. Just to share with you, Alex, and with you guys, some piece of information. When people get up and they start their day, 58% of the people are checking first emails than social media or news or their company's internal website or whatever. So this is important because it's kind of, emailing sounds old-fashioned, but not for people and companies who are trying to promote, not for e-commerce. So we should learn something from that. In a way, it's a really, really powerful tool to not only communicate and build a trustful relationship with our audiences, but also to retarget them, to be able to know what they do with the content we produce. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if this sounds like it, Alex, or you would like.
It's so much more personal, isn't it? An email. I mean, I think that's the thing. It can be, and you can customize it to the people. I mean, another another interesting fact about email is that it's also plain text emails which get the most response. So these don't need to be fancy designed newsletters, but of course they're great, and it's important to have that official look as well sometimes. But yeah, you know, there's something very powerful about an email, and it's a direct. So on our websites with our partners, we're always encouraging ways for them to ask, you know, to give a reason for people to sign up for a film they want to go and see, or a competition, or a just to, you know, to stay connected, stay in touch. It's such a powerful thing, and it gives you just this huge advantage in the marketplace if you can have that, you know, that direct relationship. And I know you're already doing this. You already have emails, you know, massive email list, I'm sure. But I suppose there's two things. Is one is going, you know, direct to consumer as well. And there's another thing, is just recognizing just how powerful that is. You know, much more effective generally than, you know, than social media on its own.
Yes, but I would say in favor that these are two tools that you can complement, but the thing is not to rely in only one tool. That's why we should change our mindset. If we want to go long term and get this global promotion and really think about the strategy, is about having a multi-channel action. So I would say between social media and email marketing, I would say to prioritize email marketing, but to link it and to start working in social media, because really the open rate is, I mean, the engagement is better because you get your brand out, you are branding the content. So you control the conversation and you control the promotion. I think that's the main thing that these tools can help us do. And as we said, multi-channel strategy is like 100% your strategy. But I would say if we don't measure what we do, if we don't track, if we can improve, if we are like perhaps investing lots of efforts or money, if you're paying advertising or you're doing ads, you don't measure that, it's not managed. I mean, you're not like doing the full job. So I would say that if I could recommend something from my point of view, it's of course, if you're running campaigns or you're running sequences or emails, to have clear call to actions. Again, driving traffic to our website. Remember your powerful hub. And of course, tagging the campaigns. That's what we do. And of course, tech teams can help you on that, like to add tracking to each campaign, because this.
By the way, that might sound really techy, but that's a very straightforward process. It's just every campaign you have has a different link, and then you can see where that traffic's coming from.
Yes, and you can, of course, for instance, for emailing, or even for not only for campaigns to track, but for each of your actions, emailing, you can check the rate of, I know this, it may sound obvious for some of you, but the rate of people who opens, who clicks, where do they go, if they go to your CTA or to the website, because you have your website address in the footer. I mean, for your website, you can even track with your own analytics, like customized analytics, clicks of a campaign, the time the visitors are in your site, engagement rate, even geographical inputs. Where does the traffic come from? I would say we had some really cool insights from our German Films success story, which is one part of our partners. And I would say, if they are here, because I didn't check the participants, we thank you for letting us share this information during this webinar. So I would say that, you know, perhaps what KPIs mean, like what do you have to translate your goals into things you can measure, but go easy, step by step. Try to follow what your audience, that the audience that you target is doing, so you feed with that data and you make better decisions. Perhaps cut off a campaign that is not working, or even creating a new, perhaps, campaign because you have some geographical people coming from whatever. So I would say, like, stick to your data.
Yeah, and definitely in terms of measurement, right? What kind of measurements could people be thinking about?
I would say, as we said, perhaps you could track your engagement rate, the time a visitor is in the website, even the number of returning visitors, which is people that is becoming loyal to the content you produce, or even the CTAs, like cross the information between the campaigns you do and they are driving to your site. How is this working? I mean, there are lots of really easy things that the best thing to do is to translate your goal into things that you can measure easily. So I would say, go for it. I mean, start testing, test what's happening with that.
Good advice I had once was, you know, if you're not sure what to measure, just start measuring something. And
that's right.
And you can adjust it. But it's so important to, you know, to have benchmarks, and as we know, what gets measured gets managed. So it's key.
Oh, the guys from German Films are saying they're here, so thank you. Thank you. So this leads us to perhaps our last kind of really, like, kind of perhaps innovative insight, because we think there's a lot of opportunities out there that you can perhaps take advantage of, not only getting these B2B audiences see what you do and what your industry is getting, but at the same time, you can start connecting directly to consumers. You can start targeting them and connecting with fans wherever and whenever they want, wherever they are and whenever they want. It's kind of trying to build this bridge that perhaps it's not our aim, our main goal, but it's something that it comes along with these tools. So it's not something that you have to think about or deliver it, like, specifically. It's something that it's natural to these tools, like try to link consumers with content. So saying that we have the blessing of our German Films partners, this is an interesting case to show on how they got to perhaps take advantage of D2C tools or D2C opportunities. Of course, I don't know if you, yes, we have the slide on, sorry, I didn't see that. So as you can see in the slide, we call it success story because we really think that they're doing a great job and they are doing really good numbers, and they are delivering quality opportunities for consumers to go and check where the German films are, where to watch them. So just as a sum up and You can, the girls from German Films can interact through the chat, but the main goal of German Films when they addressed Usher You was to boost the awareness of German films and their filmmakers outside Germany, which is kind of what we've been talking about, how to get global with your national content. So they wanted also to build an international database of German film fans. They wanted to get this kind of community that is interested in this content, not only in cinemas and festivals, but they are interested in digital releases. So our approach in a way was to integrate this website thinking about customers or audiences and complementing that with their B2B strategy. And of course, developing some analytic tools like to help them go over and see if their campaigns and the audience behavior was what they expected, because we are always like sensing the temperature and we know the industry and we try to see what's going on, but data gives us like really cool insights and accurate things to get from. So they have also, this is important for you, like to picture yourselves in the D2C world. Like one of the features we developed is signing up for updates, that people who want to know when this movie arrives to its cinemas, the cinemas of their city, or even when it gets online for with show times and streaming date, streaming links, sorry, or streaming stuff. So it's kind of a good way to capture emails and to like to feed this database of fans. And apart from that, I would say, Alex, I don't know if you're seeing the numbers as me, but they really got good conversion rates on campaigns they run to take audiences to VOD offers of German films. So they did use campaign tagging, the thing that we've been discussing, like an interesting tool, like to see which are the campaigns that work the most, which have to be like really rethinked or rethought. So in a way, for us, this is kind of something that we want to show, because I think they are getting and they have got really good results, and they can even improve them more, thinking about of content in a way, like they can even promote them more. But these kind of users from 85 countries, I think this is the synonym of going global with your catalog, you know. So this is kind of a surprise because this is a mock that we created just for using the German Films branding to show how this D2C tool can also integrate a B2B possibility. Like your catalog is live, is living, is dynamic. And if you go to a market, you could even have a simple button like Alex is showing, and to capture some leads and some interest and to get a database on people who want to distribute or license these films. And you can also contribute to the industry by perhaps saying, hey, we pulled up these stats and lots of people from X territory are wanting to distribute these films. So it's kind of another phase of using these tools, but it's not only D2C, but B2B to support, you know. You're mute, Alex. Here.
I heard my children earlier, so I better mute myself. No, it's a very practical tool. You know, this is something which we are building, and it's just very practical. It just means that you can, you know, you again are just creating these automated workflows which make your life easier, which give you more information, which allows you to help the filmmakers and the distributors. So that's it. Yeah. Sorry.
No, of course. The thing is trying to remember our beautiful map of how you can manage the data, and you can benefit of going both sides in a way. You can try to help the industry and like bring in insights to the industry that are really useful. And you can also target audiences, showing where to watch your films and where to watch your catalog, because we want this catalog not to be printed only for on-site events, but to get it really live and to you to take advantage of having a website. Having a website is not just throwing information there, but it's just making the most of it from the user experience perspective. So you have both B2C and D2C opportunities to promote better. So this is kind of what we've been discussing. We need to turn visitors into audiences. That's the main thing. That's why we tried and we delivered a project some years ago, which is now live, which is called Movie Voyage, which is this website or platform, I would say, that we created for audiences to get like a really showcase and direct to consumer opportunity to see and to watch and to get connected to European content. We also can pull out these kind of reports from this site. I mean, lots of information that is good for the industry to know, to like make good calls, make good decisions, not only from the promotional point of view, but from the public policies. You can get a whole overview of what you're saying. And regarding our data and the databases we have connected to Movie Voyage, we are also improving more. I mean, we are getting and adding more territories and more data from other places for us to showcase. So it's really kind of a contribution, and it was really co-funded by the media desk, the media program are in the desk in Ireland. So we are really like, we like this project very much because we think it contributes to the industry. Um, so yeah, I think it's your turn, Alex.
Thanks so much, Agustina. So we're definitely going to have time for questions at the end. But look, just to sum up, we believe that more effective promotion of national cinema looks like improving the direct marketing. Well, firstly, it looks like B2B and B2C, right? Not one, not the other, both. And that's the key point. But we also believe, direct marketing, having that direct relationship, creating that visibility by having a single destination for all your films. And that, I think that's the other part of that is it's a living catalogue. Agustina said this very eloquently. It's a living catalogue. It's not a printed hard copy thing. This is updated. This is alive. You can interact with it, right? So that's really important in your single destination. And by having that, it allows you to get data, that's insights, which means you can respond to those insights and you can be nimble, you can be responsive. And that's such a great opportunity in this current market. And automated tools, creating stuff which makes your life easier, which means you don't have to sit and someone has to sit and update all of the rights for a particular film, or where it's showing, or all of that. Automate it. There's ways to do that, and obviously we can help. We'd love to help, but there's other ways. There are ways to do it as well, independently. So look, thank you so much for your attention. We talked about attention, and we know how busy everyone is, so we really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to sit with us, and we really hope this has been helpful.
Before we go to the questions, I would say that there's an interesting resource that we want to share with you and your network, your stakeholders, if you want to distribute this. It's kind of a tool that we created that we think that it gathers, and it's targeted to producers, distributors, national film bodies. Like in less than 5 minutes, even 4, you can score your marketing actions, and you can see in which fields you need to improve and get some insights on how to. It's something that is really simple to do. You can, I'm going to share in the chat, like you just click to the website. You have it in our website, and you have it in a special homepage. So it's the movie marketing scorecard. So it's something really useful, and we will be presenting this as well at EFM. Catherine, one of the founders of Azure U, is going to present this tool, but I really recommend that you take 5 minutes of your time, and if you can, if you test it, you distribute it in your network, because it's really useful. You can get lots of insights, and we are, of course, free to help you whenever you get these insights and the report attached to it. So feel free to contact us.
It's fun as well.
Yes, actually.
Quite a fun process. So have a go, and if you think it would be useful to your partners, please do share.
We have some questions, I think, Alex.
Yeah, we'll be there at EFM. But yeah, Agustina, have you got access to the chat?
So you see, we have some questions.
Great.
Perhaps, a ver, you hold on, guys. We're having, yes, it's kind of the same question that Alex, perhaps you can go through this one. In the morning, we had some questions on this, like how we get the data, and you were saying that if you can go through that one. I'm going to share the link for the scorecard.
So, so for us, how do we get our data? So when we're working with German films or any of our other partners, we can provide, we talk about like automation and making things simpler. We can provide data on cinema showtimes when they're open, hopefully soon, on streaming, and that's across. At the moment, we have, well, we have all of Asia, Europe, and the US, and we get that from different providers. We also have direct relationships with some of the providers, like some of the streaming platforms, and also some of the cinemas. We have a direct integration, which means we can actually also sell cinema tickets for some of the cinemas on the site. But that's yeah, it is a variety of different data sources, and that's not too vague.
So the main thing, just as if you have any other questions, we can answer them, but the main thing is to bring solutions that are like 360 degrees, like they address audiences from any channel. If they want to go to the cinema, if they want to get a home entertainment option, we are there. If they want to get a festival option, we are there to show consumers where they can get to watch national film content or any other content, for instance, from distributors' site or producers in any case. So I would say the main challenge is to remember that we work for audiences, either B2B or D2C. So we are trying to get the most of the communication we create and we produce for them. So remember that the main target is not always to think about what we do, but how to get them engaged, you know?
Yeah, yeah, just mention festivals there. Festivals is actually, we still want to get better information on festivals. It's something which we'd love to talk to you about in terms of what would be, you know, I think the industry is missing an opportunity joining festivals with distribution, with streaming, in terms of, you know, there's audience at the festival, there's publicity about that movie. Now, what happens to that energy? What happens to that publicity, you know, when it comes to distribution? How can we capture that? And I think, you know, we'd love to find a better way to bring that data in as well. And we'd love to discuss that with you. And we'd love to discuss, you know, any of your particular needs, you know, because we've covered some very general points here, but we recognize, you know, every organization is different. So look, you know, we'd love to sit down with you, chat about what your requirements are, what your you know, what the big opportunities for you are, and see if we can help. We'll be at EFM.
Of course, we'll be there, and we have lots of ideas on how to improve your marketing with these kind of tools along a market like is a virtual one or a hybrid market, because you can get lots of real-time data that can make you drive even your one-to-one meetings along, you know, so you can feed from that data and perhaps change the strategy even like in real time of each of the content you are showcasing in each market, because you can check what's happening and who is tracking you, who is searching and what. So remember that our main belief is that the traffic should go directly to your website, and your website should be ready to get those insights and to feed the actions with those insights. So really free to think about. I mean, while you were talking, I was also thinking of other ideas. So we will discuss that later. Don't worry.
This is probably not the time to brainstorm new product ideas.
No.
It's okay. I was probably starting to think about that. But look, maybe we should, you know, let's not overstay our welcome here. Let's hope, you know, I think we've had an opportunity for people to ask questions. So look, you know, thank you so much for joining us. I hope it's been helpful. We'll follow up on email with a recording and a deck, and you know, let's stay in touch, and look forward to, you know, to presenting some more results to you soon. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you, guys and girls.
Bye, wherever you are across the world.